Hello, and welcome back to Practicing Our Praise. This is a video series that I'm basing off scriptures and the book Holy Roar, 7 Words That Will Change the Way You Worship, written by Darren Whitehead and Chris Tomlin. So this has been a fun series so far. We've been exploring Hebrew words together that translate to praise in English. We've been diving into these ancient worship practices and discovering how they are still relevant to us today. So if you're tuning in for the first time, I'd encourage you to click the I in the corner of the screen here. That'll take you to a playlist of all the other videos in this series. You don't have to watch them in any particular order, just pick one that floats your boat, and I want to welcome you to this journey that we're on together. So this week, we'll be diving into a Hebrew word that will probably stretch us a little bit. Might test our comfort level as well, because our word for today finds its source in humility. Not humiliation or being humiliated. I want to make that clear. I think sometimes we can get those two words kind of mixed up together because they look and sound so similar, but humility has a much different meaning. Humility finds its source in humbleness. And today I'll be talking about humbling ourselves before the Lord, recognizing our place as His children, and giving praise to a great God who is beyond comparison. And that expression of praise is Barak. And if the first place your mind went is to the former president, my mind went there as well. We won't be talking about him today, but here's the definition of Barak. To kneel, to bless God as an act of adoration, to praise, to salute, to thank. And Darren, the author of Holy Roar, actually describes Barak as the posture of praise, which we should be striving for. And I think by the end of the video, you'll see just how fitting that description really is. So Barak is a word that is used 289 times in the Psalms. And each time it's used, it is used to describe the worshiper falling on their face before God in total surrender, and thanking God and blessing Him for all He has done. And it's important to note that Barak isn't simply kneeling down. As I learned in this book, the word Barak carries the idea of not only bending low, but keeping our eyes fixed above on the King at the same time. So, looking up to our God in wonder and amazement as we bow. They're like a package deal. So I'd like to take us to Psalm 72, and here we find a Psalm of Solomon. That might be a name that rings a few bells. So Solomon was Israel's king during one of the most prosperous times in Israel's history. And in this passage, Solomon describes earthly kings of all nations bowing down to the one true king. Verse 11 of this chapter says, "May all kings bow down to Him, and all nations serve Him." And if we jump down to verse 15, we read, "Long may He live. May gold from Sheba be given Him. May people ever pray for Him and barak Him all day long." Kings have a symbol of power and authority, don't they? But here, we see Barak in its purest form, which is putting aside ego and possessions and our honor and laying them aside to focus all our attention on God. When we enter into worship, Barak is such a great starting point for us. If we were to show up to church with our focus on the things above, I'm willing to guess that we wouldn't be distracted as easily during the service. And we probably won't care about the worship team that only played new songs that morning. You see, Barak allows us to examine ourselves and find out where our focus is when we enter into His presence. Another big key to Barak is gratitude, which is having a thankful heart and counting our blessings. We've all seen evidence of God's goodness in our lives and in the lives of those around us. And taking note of and experiencing the goodness of God while directing our thanks heavenward will bless God and give him the adoration he deserves. You know, it's so important for us to humble ourselves and get low before God as an act of humility, recognizing God's importance and his goodness in our lives while keeping our eyes above, captivated by the King of Glory. So if you're looking for some songs that express Barak, check out We Fall Down by Chris Tomlin, or Came to My Rescue by Hillsong. Or if you're looking for a classic, I Surrender All is another good one. Have a great week, everyone.